So yeah, I'm a little bit nervous. This is the first time I'm talking for longer than 5 minutes and for, to more than 5 people in English, because no, I'm not from Australia. I'm from Germany. And yeah, I've been coming along to the London Buddhist Centre for around a little bit more than 1.5 years now. And I basically only wanted to learn meditation, and I think Buddhism and everything spiritual. I definitely couldn't see that in my own life. I was like, oh God, no, this is some weird cult, and I can't deal with that. But it was last year at around the exact same time. There was the urban retreat running, and it ended with Padmasambhava Day. And the urban retreat really did something, and I think Buddhism got really introduced into my life, and I think that was the idea, to have the Dharma and Buddhism introduced into your life. And well, it wasn't really introduced into my life. I kind of felt like running against a brick wall, really. It was more, wow, this life really doesn't work. So it really confronted my, if you want, demons. And at the, around the same time as the urban retreat, there was London Fashion Week. And as Matrubandhu said, yes, I work in fashion. I work for a luxury, high-end fashion brand. And yeah, what I realized, there is just, there's no happy coexisting with fashion and Buddhism. It just, it really doesn't work. It really, you can force it. You can try and, talk to yourself and say, yeah, but you're creating beauty, you're trying to make people feel beautiful. But then on the downside, but the only people who could actually afford what I do is the upper 10,000, and I'm not quite sure if they really need that. So yeah, I was left in this really weird situation, and my first instinct was, oh God, I need to leave this. I can't work in fashion anymore. I really can't do this. But I just remember what brought me into that world initially was I had this really romantic idea about fashion. I mean, fashion is, in a way, beauty. I'm creating beauty, and I'm creating something. I want to think I'm creating a language. I'm giving people a language, because I believe that everybody, even though they don't do it on purpose, but everybody dresses in, how they feel. Everybody is kind of trying to, speak with what they wear and kind of express something with that. So, and it's also a really beautiful skill to have. I learned to be a tailor, pattern maker, and to work with fabrics and to work with these beautiful textures is something really, really incredible, and colors and, shapes, and that's something quite striking. And I mean, in real life, I'm sitting in front of a computer 9 hours a day, and I, especially on that urban retreat, I realized, God, I worry about an armhole for more time than I should worry about my health, or I worry about pocket positions for longer than about, the refugee crisis, or that's really not what it should be. So, I still work in fashion. I still work in high fashion, and I do like it at times, and it can be really challenging at other times. But that's something I'm going to figure out, I suppose. That's something I'm dealing with at the moment. What definitely makes this job easier for me is something, and that brings me to my second demon that I'm going to introduce to you, is it's a bit weird, but I live in a world of numbers. So I have, I think I developed that when I was a child. I have a really strange, I think it's OCD. It must be OCD because it's absolutely compulsory. I count, basically. I developed that when I was a really small child. So, children look at things. They look at flowers for hours, and they can be struck by a bumblebee. Like, that can change your whole universe. But what I didn't just look at it, I counted. So I counted the shades of pink, for example, on a flower, or I counted the shades of grey on a pebble. And I looked, in Germany you have these wallpapers. It's a bit weird, like they look like they've got bubbles on it. And I tried to count them in like a square, and then it became really, really strong because I tried to, create a formula on how many of these squares are actually on that ceiling, and then I end up with hilarious numbers and get completely frustrated if that number isn't a nice number that I like. So I have to do it again. That really was quite tough, because I think I created that world of numbers because I, as a kid, I was introduced to a lot of, I don't want to say misery because I don't want to feel miserable about it, but my dad died when I was 7, and I was confronted with emotions that a 7-year-old just, I don't think, knows how to deal with. And I put all these emotions away in, I call it my emotional drawer. And I stepped into that world of numbers where I felt completely safe, and where I felt just, this is lovely, like 843, this is great, I love this. It became really, really crazy. So every letter, for example, has a number in my head, and I find myself reading something, and 10 minutes later, maybe 2 sentences in, I have this number in my head, and I have no idea what I was reading about, and it's really scary. It's really, really scary to find yourself in a situation like this. So the meditation did help, but imagine coming to the London Buddhist Centre for a meditation class, and then being told to count. What is this? This won't work. I can't. No, this is not. I can't deal with that. It was really, really, really hard. It was really, really hard to be introduced to counting my breath. But it does really do something. I still find myself, counting. I'm at 45. Oops, I'm supposed to only count till 10. That happens, and I think that's always going to happen, and I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one who that happens to. But yeah, that's. It also. I don't want to, just talk about it as a really negative thing, because it opens something else up. Because I really do look at details still, even though I count, and I really, even though I look at shapes and I try to really take them in. I also have an eye for detail, I think. When I talk to you, I really, some people think I stare. I wouldn't really call it, well, I do stare, yeah. But I look at you, but later on I could tell you everything about your freckles, and it's, I love that. It's beautiful to really look at details, and you can see so many things that other people just tend to oversee. And so that's my funny world of numbers. And so my third demon is, I was initially coming to the London Buddhist Centre to learn meditation because a friend of mine who knew me well, who lived with me, said I should give it a go, because I would say I was depressed. I would say I was depressed. I have chronic pain, and I think to deal with pain is just something, very painful. It's very painful indeed. Chronic pain is, people tend to ask me a couple of days later, are you feeling better now? Like, no, because chronic pain doesn't go away. It's always going to be there. And I have a chronic illness. I have a invisible disability. So it's called Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, and it comes with different things. In my case, it comes with a really, really strong scoliosis, and the spine is very wonky. my joints are very unsolid. They like to dislocate sometimes, and I have insomnia sometimes. Like, it comes in waves, but when it comes, it's really there. And I came along to the LBC and I was convinced, yeah, this is going to be the cure. I've tried everything else and this is going to heal me. I mean, this is going to take the pain away. And I was forcing myself to meditate, and it was really, really painful. I couldn't sit for longer than 5 minutes, and I was running away from my experience. I mean, I didn't know this at the time, but I was running away from this, and it was really, really hard. And I was probably sitting down, like completely clenching my whole body and trying to, get rid of this rather than being with it. And I had an incredible moment at the spring retreat. So that was my first longer retreat this year with Vandana Jyoti. And it was in Kenchil. As some of you know, that's not the best setup to have pain. You sleep in bunk beds, and it was cold and wet, and sitting all day is not really helpful when you have back pain. So I was sitting in my meditation, and I thought, quite honestly, this is going to kill me. I mean, this is so painful. This is really going to kill me, and I can't bear this anymore, and I can't get to the next moment. This is really, really, really painful. And I was sitting there in agony, and I was crying in the shrine room, and I couldn't get up, and I couldn't tie my own shoes because I couldn't bend down, and I got so angry with myself because I got so emotional as well. Like, you're so weak. That's what I thought. You're so weak. But I was just, trying to sit with it. I mean, I kind of had to. What else can you do? So I was sitting down in the garden. I was having a coffee, and what we did at the spring retreat, we did a sevenfold puja every evening, and part of that is the Heart Sutra, and there's this line. It's nor is there pain, nor cause of pain, nor cease in pain, nor noble path that leads from pain, not even wisdom to attain, and attainment too is emptiness. And I thought, well, if Buddhism really has a point, if Buddhism really is right, that would mean that this body isn't really mine, or it's not really real, and that would also mean that this pain is not really me. And maybe that's the clue. Maybe I have to look at that. So I was trying to sit down, and I was getting ready. I was sitting down, and I was, yes, okay, come on, I'm waiting for you. I was sitting down, and I was getting ready, and I thought, yeah, I'm going to look at this pain now, and I'm going to deal with it now. And it didn't really come. It didn't really come when I've asked for it. And I think what I did at that moment, I was allowing myself to really be in that moment, and to really, not be miserable for myself in the past, or not trying to worry about what's going to happen in the next 5 minutes. I was just exactly at that moment, and exactly in that experience. And that really shifted something, and it really shifted something in my consciousness. And what I also learned on this retreat was we were doing these check-ins in the groups every day, and what I learned in my life was talking about your own pain can drive people away. It really can drive people away, because lots of people feel really bad about this, and they can't handle it. They can't take your pain on top of their own pain. So I stopped talking about my own experience. And really being able to, having a group that genuinely wants to hear about your experience was extremely, extremely moving. It was absolutely moving. I was sitting there in tears because I was so moved by this experience. And if I now come back to demons and about Padmasambhava, because last year on Padmasambhava Day I was actually quite struck by him. I thought, wow, he looks fierce, like he looks really stern, like he could be German, he built this monastery in no time, and I mean, that's German efficiency, I like this guy. But what he did is he didn't fight off these demons, he didn't try to kick them out of town. What he did, he integrated them. And I thought about it the other day. If I could integrate this pain into my life, I'm pretty sure that can be liberating. I mean, it has been liberating already to look at my pain not from an angry perspective or from a hate perspective. Because what I did was I really did hate my body. And that I realized that only recently. I really, really honestly hated my body, and I hated this experience. And what do we do? I mean, when we hate, we give it metta, right? I mean, I put myself in the 4th stage for the last couple of months to just be with it and really, 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 just, try and be kind with that experience. And you can actually learn from it. You can learn from pain. It's not, not in the sense of, this workout was maybe a little bit hard, Not in that kind of way, but it's always there. Chronic pain is something a bit like breath. You can always count on it. It's always there. And what makes us feel more alive than pain? And it's always a reminder of being alive, and it really does something to your awareness. And I think that's actually quite an incredible gift that I got, that I have this pain that is in a way really reassuring, and really gives me this feeling of being alive. And I chose not to fight that demon. I chose not to try and kick it out, because I'll never get rid of it. It's always going to be there, and I try to, maybe see it as a friend or as a companion or maybe as a teacher, and that's what I'm dealing with at the moment. Yeah, thank you.